Hey guys, welcome back to Technique WOD. Today we're going to go over a bar muscle up progression. All right, so some of the reasons that I like bar muscle ups over ring muscle ups, starting with that you don't have to be necessarily as strong. I don't believe that most people, when they start with the ring muscle ups, that they can actually get into, once they actually do get into the dip, they're usually not strong enough to get out of the ring dip. Bar muscle ups don't necessarily require that. So with that being said, bar muscle ups might be a good alternative for you to work on if you're not necessarily strong enough to work on a ring dip yet. All right, so I'll show you a couple of bar muscle ups real quick, and then I'll go over some of my favorite tips and then a couple of tricks to help progress so you can actually finally get your first bar muscle up or get better at them. Okay, so starting off, first thing I like is make sure you have a bar that's high enough where you can actually hang from it and your feet aren't going to drag the ground. What this is going to help with is making sure that you can actually stretch your legs out, make sure you're using all of your abdominals to help bring your hips up as high as you can, using as much hip drive as possible. All right, so first prerequisite that I recommend is make sure you have a chin over vertical plane pull-up. All right, make sure you're strong enough to get your chin over a vertical plane on the pull-up bar, meaning if I were to draw a line through this pull-up bar vertically, you can pull your chin over at the top. It'll look something like this. Right? If you've got that, you're pretty good. All right. Next would be a chest to bar pull-up with your body at basically a 45-degree angle. What I mean by that is you want to be able to get your hips high enough to where you can actually touch your chest to a bar while your body is in a 45-degree angle. So real quick, it'll look like this. All right, so that'll help because once you get your hips actually that high, you've done most of the work. From there, it's just all about transitioning yourself over the barbell, or I'm sorry, over the pull-up bar. All right, so one quick drill to work on is going to be bringing your hips to the bar. So working on bringing that chest to bar, you want to bring your hips as high to the bar. I'm not doing a chest to bar pull-up right now. I'll show you how I'm actually initiating hip drive, and I'm trying to float my body up, bringing it as close to my hips as I can get it to the bar. So a slight arm bend, all using my hips to help bring my body up and float. From there, we'll move on to the next step, but for now, I'll show you what this will look like. All right, so I did most of the work. I brought my hips high enough. Now all I've got to do is add in the component of sitting up or transitioning over the bar. So once I bring my hips high enough, think about closing your hips like you're in a GHD sit-up machine, okay? So you'll bring your hips high, toes are pointed, body's in a 45-degree angle, and I'm gonna quickly close my hips like I'm hinging, all right? So real quick. So you saw it in 2 steps. I brought my hips up, quick GHD sit-up, and then I let my toes fall. Common problem you'll see is people will bring their hips up and they'll do a very aggressive sit-up, but they get stuck at the bar. It's like they can't quite get over, or they're out in front of it or behind it. The problem there is that their feet are too high. You need to keep your body in that 45-degree angle, and then once you actually sit up, let your toes fall. That'll help you carry around that bar and help you actually rotate around, right? So just to show you what I mean by that, you might see people go. If you notice, I got my hips high, my toes were still way too high though. If I keep my toes down, it's gonna help me rotate around. So with that being said, one key to remember is hips up. When you do the sit-up, let the feet fall. It'll do most of the work for you, helping you rotate around. Once you're on top of the bar, it's as simple as a kipping ring dip up, or I'm sorry, a kipping dip up, right? You use your knees to help drive yourself out of it. Or if you're strong enough, just press out. Couple of big no-nos on this. Make sure you don't over pull, right? You want your hips to help bring your body up, and your arms are almost kind of, you're floating, right? Your arms are just kind of guiding you. You really shouldn't use a lot of arm pull. Keep your toes low, right? If you keep your toes low, it's gonna help with that transition rotating over. And then finally, remember, fast GHD sit-up, right? You wanna be super aggressive. Get those hips high, and quick hip hinge. Use the abs. Two types of dismounting. So the first is if you're just doing singles, very simple. You kip up, you press yourself out, and then you can do like a negative dip back down and then fall out, right? Great if you're just doing singles and you're not quite comfortable yet with falling completely from the top. So that'll look something like this. And then back down. Nice and easy. The second type of dismount will be when you kip up, you press out, and you completely fall back with your arms still locked. And what this helps with is if you're doing unbroken sets, it helps rebound so you can kip right back into the next one. Real quick. Cool. All right. Two limiting factors that might contribute to this mobility-wise would be shoulder flexion. So I highly recommend finding some good shoulder flexion stretches. Make sure you're opening all this up because you're going to be swinging. Your body weight's coming down. That's a lot of force generated. I highly recommend spending time warming up, getting your lats loose. The second might be when you're actually coming into the dip, shoulder internal rotation. So find a good stretch there as well. It'll help the shoulders pull over that bar and help you finish that dip.